Hello ladies and gents, it's the Ryan from 1992 here, and I thought I'd give you guys a bit of a treat today, inform you guys on something you might not know a lot about, and that is scuba diving. As you may know, like I said in my first video that I made, I am a open water scuba diver. That's going down with the tanks. And really there's a lot of stuff you guys probably don't know about this sport. You might find a bit interesting, so I thought I might want to get into that today. So probably the first thing people misconceive about scuba diving is that they think we're breathing in oxygen. They think we're breathing in pure O2, which we aren't. We're actually breathing in compressed air. And what that is, it's kind of a mixture of oxygen, some other chemicals. Because as you know, the air that we breathe isn't just pure oxygen. There's also, in fact, you know, it's only just 20% actual oxygen. The other thing is mostly nitrogen in our air, and there's a whole bunch of other chemicals. But yeah, we don't actually breathe in O2 because O2 is poisonous at a certain depth if you go beyond 30 feet. So yeah, we breathe in compressed air. Scuba tanks are extremely explosive, if you haven't noticed. If you cut the valve off the tank, it's going to be a rocket. It's just going to like go crazy. If you put it in your trunk of your car and it goes off, you're not going to have a trunk left. It'll rip the whole thing off. My teacher was telling me about this one time. This guy had a tank in his shop. It went off, blew right through his wall in his shop, went out into the parking lots like B, C, D, E, F, all the way down there. So that's why they're actually controlled by the government, because they're considered explosives, like TNT. Anyways, another thing that some people don't really understand that well is how dangerous scuba diving really can be. If you hold your breath scuba diving, you run the risk of getting the bends. What's the bends? It's basically, there's a whole bunch of different symptoms, but basically it's kind of like lung squeeze. And there's air bubbles that form in your bloodstream. And that's not good, especially when you're ascending. They could expand, block the flow of blood to the heart. You know, your heart can't work without blood. That's just one of 100,000 different things that can kill you. Not that can kill you, but are dangerous. If you have a cavity and it's not completely filled, there's a little bit of air in between the tooth and the cavity. If you get down to about 100 feet, you run the risk of having a tooth explosion because that air isn't equalized. It's not like your ears where you could just go like, and you could equalize your ears or anything else. So that's pretty dangerous. Another thing, people don't really understand how cold it is underwater. And you do run the risk of hypothermia if you're not well covered. I have here a skin suit. This is mine. It's quite tight. But yeah, this is my wetsuit. Keeps me somewhat dry at least, but mostly keeps you warm, and that's the most important thing. Some other cool things about scuba diving, you could actually have a lot of people in one tank. What you do is called buddy breathing. So I could go down underwater, I just pass my regulator around, and you know, a whole bunch of people could start breathing underwater. It's really cool. At one point, I remember in my class we did about 5 people in one tank. It was pretty cool. Everybody was just down there chilling. Scuba diving is amazing, man. Another thing you might not know, scuba diving fins are much different than snorkeling fins, which is above the water. They are not really bent because there's too much water pressure, so you know, they just need to be straight, more firm. Also with colors, you start losing colors as you go down further deep. For example, at 15 feet you lose your reds. At 15 feet, if you're wearing a red bathing suit, all it's going to be is gray. That's why if you see some really like deep pictures of the Titanic that haven't been edited, they're really like gray and green, you know, because those are like the last colors you lose. And also, the last thing I'm going to talk about, because there's so much stuff, maybe I'll make, you know, I'm going to make a part 2 to this video. I'll do that next. But the last thing I'm going to talk about is refraction. objects look 25% closer when you're underwater. So you could be thinking, you know, oh, I have some distance in between me and that shark. No, I mean, he's actually, well, actually, yes, you do. Sorry, my bad. If you think he's closer than he actually is, you're wrong. He's actually, you know, further. That's because, you know, the light can't make it all the way down. I don't know if you've learned yet in physics that when the light hits the water, it takes a little bounce off, refraction. Anyways, I'm sure you guys didn't know that if you haven't taken physics. Anyways, I'm going to make a part 2 to this video with some much more interesting stuff. I still have a lot more stuff yet to go. Alright? So until part 2, peace, keep on rocking the free world.